A concurrent resolution honoring Indiana University in recognition of its bicentennial anniversary on January 20th, 2020. Whereas Congress passed the Ordinance for Government of the Northwest Territory in 1787, stating religion, morality, and knowledge being necessary to good government and the happiness of mankind, schools and the means of education shall forever be encouraged. Whereas in the legislation admitting Indiana to the State of the Union in 1816, a township of land vested in the Indiana legislature was reserved for a seminary of learning. Whereas the Indiana Constitution of 1816 stated, it shall be the duty of the General Assembly, as soon as circumstances will permit, to provide by law for a general system of education ascending in a regular graduation from township schools to a state university, wherein tuition shall be gratis and equally open to all. Whereas on January 20th, 1820, the state of Indiana recreated the state seminary and appointed a board of trustees to oversee its establishment at Bloomington.
You've heard the resolution. Chair recognizes Representative Pierce for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it's my privilege to present a Senate concurrent resolution honoring the 200th anniversary or the bicentennial of Indiana University. And IU has grown just as our state has grown, and along with the state, starting as a state seminary in 1820, very small, advancing to a college in 1828, being designated a university in 1838, and today has grown to a statewide network of campuses and medical education centers across the state. IU is now having a global impact. Millions of students have taken courses at IU, and 893,000 degrees have been earned since 1830. I also wonder how many students have met their spouses at IU in the last 200 years. I bet that's a remarkable number. It's difficult to overstate the return on the General Assembly's investment in Indiana University. It's now a leading research institution, finding medical cures and many scientific advancements of all kinds, too many to mention. And all across our cities and towns in across Indiana, business, professional, and civic leaders leading those communities were trained and educated at Indiana University. So as IU notes its 200th anniversary, its bicentennial, it's now focusing on the future and has a new emphasis of focusing IU's knowledge and research on meeting the challenges facing our state. So they have a Grand Challenges program, and there's three main areas the university is working on for the benefit of the state. Precision health for the prevention and treatment of human diseases, environmental changes facing our state in the environmental area, and a comprehensive response to addiction crisis. And IU also has a Center for Rural Engagement that's partnering with rural communities to improve the quality of life and address the unique challenges faced by our rural communities. So right now, there are 39 Indiana communities that are paired up with faculty, staff, and students at IU to address health, resilience, and quality of place issues. So I would like to introduce our guests today. We have President Michael McRobbie, First Lady Lori Burns McRobbie, Trustee Donna Spears, Trustee Molly Connor, Vice President Bill Steffen, Vice President James Wimbush, Vice President John Sedone, Associate Vice President Trevor Fody, and Mark Deal from the IU Athletics Department. And Mr. Speaker, if we could recess.
House will stand in recess. Dr. McRobbie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me say that it is a great privilege to be here on the floor of the House as the General Assembly honors the 200th anniversary of the state's flagship public university with this concurrent resolution. On behalf of Indiana University and on behalf of our trustees, two of whom are here, I want to express our most sincere thanks to the resolution's House sponsor, Representative Mayor Pierce, and to all members of the General Assembly for all that this body has done over many years to support Indiana University, dating right back to the formal approval of its establishment 200 years ago this coming Monday. For on January 20, 1820, recognizing that an education of the highest quality would be essential to the development and prosperity of the state, your forebears in the General Assembly passed the act of legislation that created the university. Over the last 2 centuries, IU has grown to become one of the world's leading research universities, fueling an engine of opportunity and prosperity for Indiana and the nation, leading the state's international engagement, sparking discoveries that have helped solve some of the state's and world's most pressing problems, and illuminating the boundless possibilities of human imagination and creativity. IU is at the forefront of bringing to an end the scourge of segregation in the communities that it serves. And it is particularly fitting to note on this day, as we also celebrate the centennial of this body's ratification of the 19th Amendment and a century of women's suffrage, that IU was one of the very first public universities in the nation to admit women on an equal basis with men. On our regional campuses, which are such invaluable economic and community development catalysts in their regions, on the Indianapolis campus, which is renowned for its commitment to community service, and on the Bloomington campus, where the highly successful Center for Rural Engagement brings IU's formidable resources to bear to address challenges in dozens of less advantaged Indiana counties and communities. IU's commitment to helping build a prosperous and innovative Indiana is stronger than ever. We are helping to keep an IU education affordable and accessible by keeping tuition low, providing record levels of financial aid, and launching path-breaking and award-winning programs to reduce student debt. We are graduating record numbers of students, the largest in the state, and helping to substantially increase the number of Hoosiers who hold 4-year degrees. We are making record investments, as Representative Pierce pointed out, aimed at improving the health and well-being of Indiana citizens through IU's Grand Challenges programs to curb opioid addiction, to address the impact of environmental change, and to develop precision cures for cancers and neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. And we are attracting record levels of external research funding, nearly $700 million last year alone, which is a resounding endorsement of the quality of IU's faculty and the impact of their research. The 9 IU faculty and alumni who have over the years earned Nobel Prizes are further evidence of the quality and impact of Indiana University's research and teaching. And of course, the accomplishments of IU's talented student athletes have helped to make the Hoosier State known around the world, including most recently the football team, who had their most successful season in 26 years, playing in the Gator Bowl and going 8-4 and just ever so close to 9-4 in the regular season, and bringing the old and bringing
I'm sorry, Dr. McRobbie, your microphone is no longer working.
We have brought the bucket with us today, and for those members of the House who have never had a chance to be photographed with the bucket or to hold the bucket, we would be delighted if you would take the opportunity to do so. Again, thank you very much for honoring Indiana University on its bicentennial. And as we enter our 3rd century, we look forward to our continued partnership with you and to many more decades of successful service to the state and the nation. Thank you very much.
Here, pass that up here.
We're putting it up here for safekeeping for just a moment. Well, if you look back and it's mysteriously gone, that wouldn't be the first time I had my hands on it. I'm sorry, are you complete? Have you completed? Further discussion, House will return to order. Representative Ellington. You're guarding it very closely.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. You know, as we all look out amongst our friends and families and coworkers here in Indiana and really across the nation, for the last 200 years, Indiana University has really set the forefront for a lot of developments in technology and healthcare, Kelley School of Business and job opportunity, and we are so grateful. It's just examples. You know, people talk about the connections, but I really want to talk about the connections of people having the opportunity that Indiana University and other universities, especially IU, has given. You know, my father-in-law, my grandparents, and their grandparents had a connection with IU. And now we have the 4th best transplant hospital in the nation because of those trainings that we received from IU Medical School. And you go back to the arts, just like Hoagie Carmichael and his band. You know, we had opportunities locally to grow from that. And I want to say my kid's grandparents, he played the banjo during that band and named 3 of some of the songs that Hoagie wrote. And so that connection and the availability to go and grow from stewardship like yourself and many before you, we really appreciate that as Indiana Hoosiers. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Ellington. Chair recognizes Representative Giacquino.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House, President McRobbie. If I could, I'd like to recognize IU and congratulate you on this resolution as a proud IU alum. And if I could have all the rest of the IU alums here on the floor, whether it was a law degree, undergrad, whatever, there's plenty of you, so please rise and be celebrated. Law school? I know, law. Mr. Speaker Bob, no, IU Law. You know, IU, it's a story of broad-minded thinkers and impressive feats, outstanding artistic contributions and world-altering inventions, strong leaders and brave community builders. Indiana University celebrates its bicentennial in 2020. These milestones represent the amazing 200-year life of the beautiful Bloomington campus where it all began. Indiana University now has 2 core campuses, 7 regional campuses for a total of 9 different campuses. Each one of these campuses is an accredited 4-year degree granting institution. Reuters ranked Indiana University 27th on its list of the world's most innovative universities in 2017. Since 2011, their Money Smarts financial literacy program has helped IU students reduce their borrowing by $126.4 million, a 19% decrease. This is something we should consider adopting for all universities in Indiana. 125 plus online degrees and certificate programs, 9 IU School of Medicine locations, 20,000 classes approximately offered each semester, over 21,000 faculty and staff as of fall of 2018, including our own Representative Matt Pierce, 120 countries represented by IU faculty, $680 million in external funding for research and other activities, and maybe most importantly, Mr. Speaker, 5 NCAA championship in men's basketball. It was probably either Representative Carball or Representative Morris, knowing those two, that started chanting, Hoosiers, Hoosiers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Giacquino. Representative Smith for further discussion.
When I completed my high school education, it was my full intent to go to a historical black college. I wanted to have that experience. As situations manifested themselves, paperwork lost, I took the scholarship that I was offered at Indiana University, and I started my academic pursuit of higher education at the institution. I am so glad, and this is not a knock to historical black colleges, but I'm so glad that God ordered my steps and sent me to Indiana University. I started at Indiana University during the Civil Rights Movement, and everything was not perfect there. But I can really tell you that I have great love for this institution called Indiana University. I want to just give thanks to 3 men, 3 European American men who took an interest in me and made a difference in my life and the success that I experienced on that campus. The first one is Frank Jones. He's gone on to glory. He was over the Alumni Association. And on our first occasion, we fought because I had started a black alumni group. And we fought. We now have a black alumni group. But we fought at that time, but he was responsible for providing economic resources for me to be able to complete my college education. And then there was James Wigan. Dr. James Wigan was a character. He was full of life, and he made a difference in my life. I cannot tell you how this man was involved in my life. And then the third person is Ed Buffy, who was my chairman of my doctoral committee. And if it were not for him, I would not have my doctorate, because I had completed my coursework, and I had dropped out. I had my dissertation to write. I had a superintendent who wouldn't give me a leave of absence to go and do my residency on campus. And he called me, if not every month, every other month, to tell me, to encourage me to come down and finish. And I finally took his advice, and God opened the way and softened the heart of the superintendent, and I was able to come down. But if it were not for men like that, I would not be standing here today. I certainly, and I want you to understand that I had some bad experiences on this campus, but my remembrance of the good things that this university offered me are totally embedded in my life. They are interwoven in my life. And I would have never thought as a freshman, sitting in the classrooms in the many halls that they have at the university, the many buildings, that I would have returned to Indiana University Northwest as a faculty member, and now being the only full professor in my department, being the only black full professor on campus. I certainly am humbled. So I stand here today to thank the university for the role that it has played in my life. But I also want to praise the university for the role that it has played in all of the alumni and all of the students who are part of that great family called Indiana University. It's my pleasure on our 200th anniversary to say thank you, and you are praised for the work that you have done.
Further discussion on the resolution? Would you like to close, Representative Pierce?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As someone who holds 2 degrees from Indiana University and has the privilege of teaching in the media school at IU Bloomington, I'm pleased to ask you to join me in supporting this resolution. And I also wanted to make sure Senator Cook, the Senate author, asked me to make sure that Representative Leahy had an opportunity to hold the bucket before it left the chamber.
Question is on the adoption of Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 7. All in favor indicate by voting aye. As opposed, no. Resolution is adopted unanimously. Thank you, Dr. McRobbie, and your entire team for being here today, and for all you do for our state.